Hello, adventurers, and welcome to Grognard and Friends. Low-key Mr. G, your friendly neighborhood Grognard here, coming to you from my secret underground bunker where, along with my friends, we play our version of Dungeons and Dragons. We come to you this evening fresh off a wonderful weekend at Philly's own PAX Unplugged. We are fortunate enough to be able to meet so many fantastic people this weekend, and we will speak more about our experiences next week when Nikita can join us, as she is currently still traveling. But what I would like to say is this. This weekend was a shining example of why I love this community. No matter who you are, or what is that thing that makes you unique, and let's face it, every single one of us is a unique individual in our own right, you were welcomed and embraced for who you are. It was a weekend of respect, kindness, and warmth, and I couldn't be prouder to be a part of this community, as I think I'm a better person for it. And it just made the weekend shine and be something I just can't tell you how proud I am to have been a part of it. Now, while we don't have everything up yet, we are working on getting our episodes up on YouTube. So if you want to get it caught up, you can check out episode 17 through episode 22 right now, with more coming this week. You can find us on YouTube at, you guessed it, Grognard and Friends. And we would love it if you subscribed and all the good stuff that you know to do there as well. Thank you to all of you that have already done it, and we look forward to seeing many more of you there. Now, let's check in with the friends in this week's episode of Grognard and Friends. When last we left our friends, they continued their search for their friend Butt Trumpet the Goblet, who had been gobnapped in broad daylight in the marketplace. Connections discovered that a bounty put out for a small blue goblet, and a tip led them to a bar down on the docks called the Dirty Mermaid, where they met a person who called themselves the Matchmaker. The Matchmaker turned out to be the middleman for this contract, and while he was not about to betray his meal ticket, he wasn't above confirming some valuable information for money. Now, safely back at the stone's throw, our friends consider their next move. Quietly at that, I might add.
Hello. I usually try to start talking and then realize I've been muted, or we immediately start talking over one another. So,
one way or the other, you know.
Gonna find you, gonna get you. Yep.
So you find yourself in the stone's throw. It's about mid-afternoon, a little later than mid-afternoon. You've just gotten back from the docks, which was an interesting experience, and in the seedier part of the western districts.
So, okay. Just a quick rehash what I talked about with the gentleman at the establishment. Basically, he hinted, because he couldn't, out of his confidentiality, his values that he held, and I can respect that. Basically, our this individual named Mamulian, Butt Trumpet's previous employer, if you will, to put it nicely. Owner, if you want to, probably closer to reality. Maybe the individual that who started the contract or the bounty, though they have yet to receive said Butt Trumpet. So, right now we know that some discredited folks somewhere in the market district have them, but they haven't completed the transaction. So I know Nikita decided to go and, ask more around the market area stalls for basically maybe the local gang that works in the area, or perhaps I'm not sure. I'm sure she's got some good questions to ask, and will fill us in later on that. But I'm thinking we might want to work at least Reed. What was that guy's name that you went on a magic carriage ride with, or some such thing? The guy who did the message thing
Barnaby
in our
Nickleby.
heads.
Barnaby Nickleby.
Yes. He's a pretty powerful magic user, yeah? And
I think he's very. Yeah, I think he's very powerful. He might even be more powerful than you.
Oh well, we'll see that.
Just
you
think.
know,
I mean, yeah.
I mean,
Is that
I
the
am
one
just
that
a humble
Nikita
cleric.
Is that the one that Nikita said could read about Trumpet's mind?
Quite possible. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So he might be our next best lead. How good of a working relationship did you have with him, Reed? Was it pleasant? Did he invite you back? Threaten your life?
No, he was actually kind of friendly. I was worried he was going to kind of be mad because I tried to sneak into his tower before, but he was actually kind of nice. So.
Oh wait, hold on. This is the one who's lives up with the aristocrats, right? The nobility.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the rub. Getting up there to him.
You think they would stop?
I guess. Usually you need permission to get up there. But butterbeer.
I will jump in here and remind you that when you first came to the city, you had permission to go to the Overlook because you were delivering a message to the Baron. And you remember at the gates, they were a little suspect of letting you in until they saw the paperwork.
Mm-hmm. Still butterbeer.
Yes, Father.
Quick question. You're a local, so what are decent ways we could either get up into the upper district, or I guess it's probably just easier to message up there? Is that
messaging?
Service
the couriers have the ability to get up there. They all have the proper paperwork to come and go.
I guess that'll be our best bet then. I guess Reed, you know how to write, correct?
Of course I do.
I just haven't seen you do it before, so. Or read any of the pamphlets I gave you.
I don't really enjoy reading them, but that's not.
That's why I put the cartoons in them. With the parables.
Cartoons, I'm totally gonna go back and read them.
You didn't even open. Oh, I worked so hard. Those are all hand drawn.
Yeah, you remember now, Reed, because the stick figures were amazing.
To die for, yes.
I'll look them over again, I promise.
So I guess we could send a note with the couriers to Nickleby. Yes, that's the name you said. To Nickleby.
So would you like me to get you a courier, sir?
Oh,
Father.
Yes, I think so. Father, sir, the sir was my father. I'm a father now. Wait. Sir was my dad.
Yes,
there you go.
Okay. I'll send Betty out to flag one down.
And he looks over at Viv. I don't know. I don't know.
I'm still just listening, trying to figure out what's happening too, so.
I keep thinking he's everybody's father, but he's not. I don't know what to do.
I don't approve of that sentiment.
Eldred says, I don't know what the problem. He's my father. He seems to be everybody's father.
Oh. It's when you use different words, though. It gets kind of strange.
Well, our family's always been a very strange family, hasn't it, Father?
Uh-huh. I need alcohol, please, butterbeer.
Coming right up. He says, and you see him speaking to Betty at the bar, and she goes out the door. And shortly thereafter, he comes over with a tray of 2 whiskeys, 2 beers, and looks at you, Vivalda, and says, "What can I get you?"
Oh, just water, thank you.
He looks at you and blinks and says, "Really? Coming right up."
Yeah, thank you.
I
Would you
can't
care
wait
for
to
some
hear how
literature?
you met the father. That's going to be interesting. Turns around.
Butterbeer, you introduced us. You were there.
Yeah, I was about to say.
You're right, and you know what? I think I need a drink
have
too.
I been drinking?
He looks out at the table, grabs one of your whiskeys, downs it, and says, "I'll take care of this." Turns around, and goes back.
This
It was
is
a busy
precisely why
lunch
I'm
rush
not
today.
drinking right now. There's too much
gonna say
information
butterbeer,
overload.
Yes.
Oh yes. Okay. So so Butterbeer long weekend. Understandable. Yeah, so sorry about this, Viv. It's kind of just we're all over the place at the moment with all the kidnappings and whatnot.
It's totally understandable. I was just what are we doing for work exactly? Where should we start?
Well, I had wanted to do the sewer contract stuff, but I think we should at least hold off maybe till tomorrow once we have Nikita back in, and we can handle that later. Or maybe even a little bit. It all depends on the information we start getting, because if we get leads onto the location of Butt Trumpet, then we follow those first.
That's far more important, I guess.
Eldred says,
Because-
if he's been taken, we want to make sure that we go and get them before they, are shipped off to who knows where.
Exactly.
Very true. How many children are
So
in the sewers too?
Oh gosh, we just interviewing parents alone. There was probably about just the people we talked to, a little under a dozen that we actually had communication talking with. Yes, but there's even been disappearances elsewhere. And the problem is, I also talking with some of the parents that live in that area. They're less than great at their parenting. Some of them even seemed that they wouldn't give a crap if their kid went missing, which reminds me I need to go talk to that one guy again and make sure his kid's okay, because I don't think he was too concerned about him.
We were in some pretty rough neighborhoods, Viv.
Yes. Now, don't get me wrong. There were the vast majority of the people were definitely concerned about their kids.
It was a heavily impoverished area, Eldred says. They seem to have a rough time of it, so.
Yes. And so, of course, it's there's the couple missing kids, and then there's the other problems apparently in the sewer that they didn't tell us before we went down there, and that's with the giant bug things I had talked about earlier. Those will probably be our main... Yeah, with the tentacles, Reed, yes. Those will probably be our main problem while we're down there. It took a bit of a beating for us to kill it. But the good news is, when we go back down there, I have prepared a couple spells that will at least help us destroy their nests, which they seem to like to make.
Oh.
They like
Well, that's
soggy, damp places. Soggy, damp, and very gross. Oh, very gross.
Extra good.
Yeah. So I guess Butterbeer, we haven't gotten any new responses to anything that's been sent out so far yet, right?
He comes down, sticks another whiskey in front of you, sticks a glass and a pitcher of water in front of you, Vivalda, and says, no, I sent the message out to the university for the professor that Nikita asked, I believe, and have not heard back. And that was the only message you sent out. And I have, from my contacts, I haven't heard anything else at the moment.
I guess that's what I was implying. The one message we sent, and if you had heard anything else. Oh, I wish I would have thought of. Has anyone heard from Glorious recently?
Glorious is safe. He is holed up at the moment, I believe. From
Good. All right,
what
just
I've heard.
Recovering and all the good. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
As his temporary healer, I want to make sure he stayed okay.
Understood.
Because that man took a beating. All right. Oh shit.
And
If
at
we're
this
not going to
point,
be able to make.
Betty comes in with a young man, and Butterbeard says, "Here's your courier."
Oh yes. Reed.
I didn't write the letter yet.
Gaius reaches into the bag, pulls out parchment and ink and quill. There you go, and some sand.
Butterbeard goes, I'll take care of this. And he goes behind the bar and pours a glass thing. Says, "Sit down, boy. Refresh yourself." And the courier says, "Oh, yes, sir. Absolutely. You're the boss."
So Reed, I guess request some help, knowledge, maybe a meeting with him about first, let him know that Buntruppet was, kidnapped, and that yes, so, well, they're about the size of a kid, so I guess whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not going to split hairs over words. And say that we think Mamulian is behind the contract. And I guess we're looking for advice and also maybe some information about this guy. I mean, the last thing we want to do is piss off another wizard.
Okay.
While they're saying this out loud, could I also just be kind of keeping an ear to see if anybody's listening in on this conversation?
Certainly can.
Oh yeah, because Gaius is definitely talking at like this tone and level, not necessarily hiding anything.
I'm like,
Vivaldo, would you give me a perception check, please?
sure thing.
Reed is furiously trying to write down everything before he forgets what he's supposed to write down. So.
Oh, not the greatest.
Okay.
11.
11? Okay. There's not a lot of people in the bar in the middle of the afternoon, but there are a few. Over about here. When you're looking around, you do make eye contact with one individual that's sitting at the table, kind of just nursing a drink, and then they go back to kind of drinking, and you do catch kind of like them look back up and then back down for a second.
Maybe you shouldn't say the name so loudly.
What? Wait, hold on, which name?
Just talking about, the bounty and everything. You shouldn't really mention it too loudly.
At which point he turns and looks around. He's like, "Oh, people. Oops.
Yes.
Good catch."
Mm-hmm.
I am not what you would call a
Subtle person, Eldred says.
Yes, thank you.
Don't mention it.
I won't.
Well, there's a first.
Maybe later.
So
Anyway.
Reed finishes up his letter.
Okay.
It sounds, I'm sure he totally butchers the name Mamulian, but that's
Okay. Butterbeard tells the courier, "Okay, finish that up," and he brings him over to the table and says, "You take this message where these nice people want you to take it, and you take it quick." And
It's
he gives him a
Barnaby
couple.
Nickleby
Bartleby Nickleby
in the Overlook.
In the Overlook.
Thank you.
The wizard Bartleby Nickleby, the boy says.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
That's the one.
I know where to find him, sir. I will take care of that right away. And Butterbeer looks about ready to say something. He goes, bye, and he runs out the door.
He didn't buy that
Quick.
drink, did he?
I'm gonna get there fast.
Vivolda, give me another perception check, please.
All right. Not bad. 16.
Okay. You notice that person at the table is no longer there.
Well, where'd they go? Okay. Just so you know, Gaius, I think I made really awkward eye contact with one person, and now they're gone. And it might be nothing, but they looked over
Is it
around the time you mentioned the name.
Is it because you gave them a weird look, or
Well, I don't think I gave them a weird look. I might have, but no.
oh, you think it's
they
because
just
I
kind
was
of-
being too loud?
I don't want to put blame on you. I don't. but
Eldred
I
says,
think maybe
don't you worry about it, Vivalda. I'll put the blame on. Yes, that's exactly what it was, Gaius.
it might be, honestly, yes.
You think he's going to grab the
So-
courier?
Oh, I
Mm.
I hope not.
We should go look, just check, make sure the courier isn't being waylaid
Just-
in the
just
alley or
peek
something.
outside.
Hey, just go.
Just
Hey,
to
who
make
wants to go
sure.
for a walk?
Let's go for a walk.
I'll
Yes.
go for a walk.
Hey,
Yeah.
hey, Butterby, we're gonna go stretch our legs. What's the path the courier would hypothetically take to get to the?
We can just
Overlook.
look outside and just see.
They would head down towards the bridge, which is the entrance to get up to the Overlook. Which Vivalda,
Yeah.
you remember that's the way that you came.
All right. Oh, I know that way, and I
Okay.
just kind of like go around the door and see if I can see the guy if he's still in eye shot.
Okay. Give me a perception check, please. We do a lot of
Yes.
perception checks here, it seems.
Yes, 3 perception checks today. Here we go again.
Come on,
The perception
even
hat
higher,
check.
Ooh,
even higher.
not bad.
Okay.
18.
You think pretty far down the road, like 4 blocks or so, you might see the kid, the child, the boy.
Okay.
And
The
then
courier.
yeah.
Okay. Let's
I'll just
go for a walk.
right there.
Okay.
Mm.
Just briskly
Won't say
walk
run.
behind, following.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm there too. I'm following.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Fast walking.
yeah.
You,
Gaius is definitely like slamming down the drinks. We're coming. Waste not, what not.
Vivalda, as you go out the door, you see him taking his, and then Eldred, who's right there with you, Gaius reaches over and takes his and drinks his and finishes, and then looks at where Reed was, takes his and downs his, and he said, "I'm coming," and then he follows after.
Now I'm ready for wind sprinting.
Oh my goodness.
So you do a brisk pace down through the streets. The streets are bustling. It's the middle of the afternoon, a little later, and you Vivalda, you can keep a pretty decent eye on the courier. He goes down a street that the rest of you are familiar as a pretty main street headed down towards the market, and you're able to get up there and kind of down the little bit of a hill towards the market. You see them, and he heads into the market, and you follow suit. And the market is really hopping. So I'm going to need you to give me another perception check in the market.
Yeah.
With
All
the
of us,
hand
or-
of Bacchus guying. Yeah, Paul, is it all of us, or you just want Vivol?
Vivalda's in the front.
Oh dear.
Okay.
She's the one who was keeping an eye on the courier, and she's the one
Gotcha.
who was in the lead.
She's probably faster than me. Yeah.
Right. Okay, you get into the market, and there's a lot of shop fronts around this huge area that just goes on for as far as the eye can see. Tents and stalls in the center, people bustling back and forth, and in the midst of all of it, you lose sight of the courier.
I don't see it anymore.
On the plus side, up until you got to the market, you did not see anyone who looked, you don't think, like the person who was sitting in the inn that made eye contact with you.
Okay. I don't see the person though who was in the inn either, but I'm hoping he's all right. But then again, if I can't see either of them,
which way is it to the Overlook from here? It's
You basically head down to the colonnade and then to the bridge.
Yeah.
And where the bridge is, the bridge not only leads over into the eastern districts, but there's a bridge that leads to the path that switches back up the peninsula up to the Overlook. There's a path on either side.
Well, we can at least head to the colonnade, to the bridge. We know where the kid has to go, so we can either just... Well, we can actually check with the guard to make sure he made it to them that are there.
Oh,
Elder goes, that's smart.
that's a good idea.
I don't know where it came from. I think Bacchus touched me in the brain this time.
Eldred says that answers so many questions. Let's
Yes.
go.
Well, I mean, normally it's the soul because of the magic stuff.
Of your feet?
I continue going.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
The wizard and the cleric are just kind of sniping back and forth, and you're ahead. Okay. So you make it down to someone roll me a d20. Any of you, just one.
Who wants to do
I got it.
All right.
Oh.
I'll call it.
Okay.
Okay.
I accidentally pushed the button, but let Reed stand if you want.
Am I doing mine?
If you want, I mean, this one.
You called it, bud. You do it.
All right.
Okay.
14.
You make it down to the
14
colonnade
enemies.
without issue, and then you head over to the bridge. And there's two guards on this side. You see a couple of them on the other side, and you see the bridge that goes over to that base roadway that goes around the base of the peninsula. And there's about 4 over there with an actual gate that you have to go through.
And still
Do we
can't
happen to see
the courier.
Vivalda, give me another perception check, please.
Okay.
I'm really glad you got a good wisdom character there.
Perception. What is that? 10? 11. Okay.
Okay. That's enough. You wait there for a while, and you're not seeing anybody for a while, but then as you kind of go up this massive peninsula cliff, the cliffs of this peninsula, up about 3 switchbacks up, you see the courier kind of go around and start heading up to the next level of this path going up the side.
I point him out, and I'm like, "Oh, there he is! I see him again."
Oh, good. All right. Well, at least the kid wasn't waylaid or anything, but there was definitely someone overhearing. Good to know. I will use my inside voice.
Yeah. I'm sure it's fine,
Next time.
but it's
Yeah,
it was
it's
just
the thing I
awkward
need to
eye
practice.
contact, and I don't. Yeah. What? I think
Yes,
he's okay.
well, good work. Good work on the tracking. Oddly enough, I used to be the tracker in the party.
Oh,
I have a very weird set of skills. I got lost in
I've
the
done
woods a
some
lot when I was
tracking.
younger. I did a lot of
me
shrooms
too.
in the woods.
What?
I see.
What? You don't... You heard me.
Okay.
Well, there was,
okay.
you had, find stuff in the woods to eat.
As we're
Some of
turning
it
around,
wasn't
Reed is
poisonous.
you overhear Reed just be like, "I hope nobody drank my drink."
Sorry, buddy. What you did was sacrilege, and I had to consume your beverage. You left a drink undrank. Yes, I consumed it.
It's a
all
religious thing.
Nah, if you would have looked at the pamphlet, you would have seen the cartoon with the people never
I
leave a
feel
drink
like I should see
undrank.
this pamphlet.
Oh, I
Oh,
can
there's
show you.
Is
Yeah,
this
many
I
pamphlet
actually.
for? Is this like pamphlet for like what happens when I work with your group, or is it more so something else?
No.
Oh, it's more about embracing the revelries, which is what I'm a cleric of.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Oh,
I particularly follow Bacchus. So good times, wine, a few other things. It's all in the pamphlets.
He's
One
like a
thing you
wine
just don't
wizard.
leave a. I'm a fucking wine wizard. Anyway, hey, we're in the right near the colonnade. Let's go check with the guard real quick to see if they found anything else about butt trumpet. Because fucking wine wizard, god damn it.
Okay, so you head
You like
over
that
to.
title.
Years. He's been with me for years. Refuses. Then we're going to talk with, what's her face?
Oh, what's her face?
I think I know.
Quartermaster.
Notes.
Captain Moreau. Not Captain Moreau?
Well,
The
she
dwarf woman?
specifically escorted us. Yes, she specifically escorted us back up to the area where she led the initial investigation for Butt Trumpet. Remember? Yeah. Want to see if she. Oh, Octavia! There we go. I found the legal notepad that I had written on from months ago.
Octavia.
Right next to my half-assed maps of the sewer. Oh, God. There's a lot of squiggles in this one for some reason.
It was because of the creatures.
Oh, no,
I'll have to
I can
take a
definitely
look at
tell
those
at what...
then.
I can definitely tell what part of my notes where Reed gets kidnapped again. Or absconded with.
It should be noted I have not been kidnapped in like at least a week.
We've been here a week.
You
You
get
were
kidnapped
definitely... he has a talent.
May I ask, how many of your group why is it so common that your group members get kidnapped so often?
I jokingly say kidnapped. Reed just literally gets lost a lot.
Oh, all right.
Or absconded by giant bug with that one time. We knew where he was.
One time
we were following
the big
it.
bug grabbed me. Yeah. They
I
saved
sometimes say things
was
in a
okay.
comical manner to the horrifying things that could have been done to him.
I understand.
Eldred says Reed is incredibly portable.
Yes, he's easy to abscond
That's
with.
true.
Until we got Butt Trumpet, who was
me.
even
I've learned not
more
to be in the back
pocket-sized.
when we're
Or the
I
front.
try to stay more in the middle of the party now. Or the front.
We should ask the guards
let the
our
healer
next
lead the way.
question.
Okay. So you're up at the barracks.
Yeah.
You're
Yes,
at the
thank you.
You're at the barracks, and there are a couple of guards on duty, neither of which you've ever seen before.
Oh,
Say hello.
Hello,
I'm Reed.
and
Ah.
state your business, sir.
We're
Father Gaius, cleric of rebels, holds out the documents. Currently under contract, the city for a bunch of stuff. I was wondering if, oh God, what was it now? Octavia Ironwill,
The quartermaster.
sergeant with her. What she was? I know she was the quartermaster. Yes, the quartermaster. I just didn't know that's a rank in itself.
Okay, just a minute. Looks to the other guard and says, "You got this." And looks at the group of you and says, "I think I can handle this. Go ahead." So the guard goes inside for a few moments and comes out about 5 minutes later with a dwarf in full plate mail that you recognize as Octavia Ironwill, the quartermaster, and Vivalda. You recognize her as the officer that suggested you go up to the Stone's Throw and meet this group of adventurers that you could possibly help. Ah, well met. I know. Young lady, I see you met them. Hopefully it's been
Yes, I
positive
have.
so far. I know.
Yes.
It's been an experience, I'm sure.
That I'm sure it is, she says. So what, have you had any luck with anything?
Potentially, I wanted to pass along some information that we have garnered. I was also curious to see if you had also found anything, or if the fellow guardsmen up in the market area.
Well, I spoke
We
to
were just in the area.
Oh, you dropped by, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I knew these were your usual working hours.
Unfortunately, yes. I spoke to the captain up in the marketplace area, who handles that area, and let them know to be on the lookout and what had occurred and everything, and they are going to get right on it. They tell me, though. His enthusiasm was less than stellar, I have to admit. I will be following up. That's a captain. What was his name again? Farmington. Captain Farmington.
Good to know. So, and then Gaius actually takes a moment and turns and looks around. Are we within earshot of those other two guards right now?
They are
Paul,
right
or
there.
Are we far enough
They're
away?
right there.
Okay. Why don't we? Would you like to go for a quick walk around the colonnade, and I can give you the info that I have kind of gathered.
She looks at the guards, looks at you, and says, "Certainly," and starts to stroll off with you.
So I've been recently reprimanded about discretion, hence this walking and talking thing now. Thank you, Vivaldi.
Yes. You're welcome.
Eldred says, "Thank you for sending her our way. She's been a huge help so far, and it's only been about a few hours."
And yes. Our
Happy to
party
help
was
in any
always
way I can.
lacking a little bit of... So at this point, Gaius will go in with what happened earlier when he went and visited the broker who had set the bounty, and potentially it being this Mamulian character. Not necessarily hiding anything from Octavia, because she's, to Gaius, has seemed like the sort who knows what information to pass along and what not.
Okay.
Being duplicitous in any way with her.
Okay. She says, I'm not sure I'm familiar with someone named Mamoulian, but I will
We we
ask.
have yeah, we have contacts. We've somehow made contacts within the magic in some magical individuals. One wizard up in Overlook, and then another one associated with the academy or college, whatever you want to call it,
The university.
and university. Thank you. I knew it was one of those. The magical place of learning. With requests to talk to them about it, but I figured we were in the area, so just pass along the information we had at the moment. And had something else besides apparently this Farmington who's less than thrilled, or is it? What was his reasoning for not wanting to?
He wasn't. It wasn't that he was blatantly troublesome. He just took it and didn't really seem to put a priority on it. So I think they'll give it to somebody, but maybe not the with the force that they could. But I do understand when the marketplace is a big area to cover, and it's a difficult area to cover. So on one hand, I understand his hesitance to put too much on this, but on the other hand, the fact that I asked him to kind of make it a priority was a little disheartening that he didn't take it with the seriousness I kind of conveyed.
Well, once again, I thank you for all the hard work that you're and friendliness, really, to be quite honest, that you've shown us. But gosh, I was hoping for a little bit more. What is there like a primary, I guess, gang that works the market? Is there?
Oh, there are a couple of.
Multiples? I was really hoping there's just one.
The market is one of those areas that, from what I understand, is a little bit of a neutral territory when it comes to thieves guilds, which is why there are some gangs that kind of deal around there. It's one of those areas where there's a little bit going on, but it's with the understanding that it doesn't get to the point where it totally destroys businesses or obstructs everyday business, because that would just be chaos and that would be anarchy in the marketplace. And the marketplace is crazy enough as it is. So there's a little bit of things that go on behind the scenes, and it's kind of from what I understand, a little bit of a blind eye is turned to some of it. I think some of that is because of some money that changes hands. But there are some young gangs. There's some kids who just do, grab things and run as well in the marketplace.
Yes. I didn't get from the vibe of the people that Reed, back me up here. You with the nappers, if you will. They seemed kind of coordinated and they worked well together, right?
Yeah.
I was kind of further back.
Yeah. I mean,
it's like,
I guess so. They look like they they had enough people involved. They set a trap to try and get me because I was following close, and yeah, they seem pretty coordinated.
So they might not be associated with any of the gangs then in the market. I was hoping like the market was one gang's territory, and like we could potentially narrow the suspects down, but I guess not.
No,
Damn
north
it.
north of the market is usually one particular area. South of the market is another area, turf, and then same with the east and west. That's why the marketplace ends up being kind of neutral territory. But every now and then, some groups, infringe upon another territory, and then there's problems. But
Mhm.
it usually is taken care of at times when the streets aren't as bustling, so that the average people aren't hurt.
Mhm.
But we haven't had a gang war up there for a long time.
Yeah, no, I was just
That's
curious
good.
because, gangs protect their area, their turf, if you will. Well, so if another group of, criminals worked in their area without their permission, they might knew who they were, that kind of thing. But if it's kind of like a miasma of these individuals, then I guess who don't want to step on toes of them, really. It's probably an outside party that did it. Interesting.
We have
I mean-
someone looking in the marketplace and asking around right now, too.
That's good. I assume it's the other young lady from your group.
Yes.
Well, yeah, the young dwarven woman.
Nikita.
Good. Yeah, she seems pretty like she's not going to give up too easily. I got the impression from her. She seems pretty
Very quizzical.
yes. Trying to think of a way to put it
Tenacious.
even better. Yes.
I wouldn't
Such
be
big
surprised if she would be able to eat. Sorry, I have a calendar. It's the word of the day.
A calendar?
Calendar. You don't have
Okay.
calendars here?
Yes, with the topic we were discussing, calendar was not the word that came to my mind. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah. Oh, so yeah. Mine was I was working on getting more verbose, so I got a word of the day calendar.
Leans into you,
It's a
kind of
gift.
sniffs a little bit, and says, understood.
What?
Oh, nothing. Nothing at all.
We had baths.
Is my bouquet a bother?
No. Just
No, it's
the,
most likely the alcohol wafting off my body.
bingo. As long you're not stumbling, so that's I don't have to be worried. But
Don't worry, I don't
It's
plan
quite
on operating a
impressive how much
horse
she can actually
anytime
drink.
soon.
I would not be surprised. I mean,
I have a lot of storage space.
I'm not even going to touch that.
It's impressive,
comment,
right, Viv?
So
I'm tall.
okay,
Very tall.
so your drinking activities aside, young man,
Mm-hmm.
I have asked the captain of the guard up in the market district to keep an eye out and to do whatever they can to try to prevent your friend from being trafficked somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
I also, as I think was mentioned to you, we sent a group over to the eastern districts to check out the house. I will tell you, no one has come back yet.
Oh God.
So I
How
don't know.
late?
They've been a day.
When are they supposed to arrive? Oh, okay.
We were kind of hoping they'd be back by the end of today, but usually they would be back sooner. But it's a big house, so who knows? We'll have to see.
Ooh. Yes. Before you send a second group to look, if they don't come back, we're at the stone's throw. We'll gladly assist with the second group, I think, because we kind of pointed you in that direction. Now I'm feeling morally obligated to make sure we find out what happens.
Well, if you have an interest in going and checking things out before we send out a second group, that would be fine. I can't send you with a squad of guard because that's just not done, and it wouldn't be. There would be problems. There would just be problems. So, but I can't. I can let you know what's going on as far as that goes because we don't usually patrol the house. But I'd be happy to let you know if there is an issue where maybe they're running a little longer than usual. If you'd like to check that out, if you want to check back with me tomorrow, that's fine.
Not a bad idea.
Okay. And
yes, I think that's probably the safest bet.
And I will go up the chain of command a little bit to see if anyone's familiar with someone named. What was the name of this person who you said put out the bounty for your friend? Mamoulian. Okay.
We suspect through the hints that I was kind of given, because the individual that I was talking with was both circumspect and did not want to give up any employer's information, we'll say. So through the context,
be dead if he had made a habit
given,
of doing that. So
correct. So when we say the name, we're saying it with some certainty, but not 100%, if you will. It's the one that makes the most sense.
Very good. Do you know what this individual looks like?
Oh, gosh, no. We're hoping our contact, the magic community, can give us some more info. Basically, it's just a name we've heard from Butt Trumpet before.
Okay. Is this just is that the whole name, Mamoulian?
As far as Reed?
Yeah, as far as I know. That's all we've heard.
Okay.
Viv, I know you've got exactly as much information as I do, a name that you just heard.
Well, I'll see what I can find.
Oh, wait, what about our wizard friend?
Eldred?
Wizard?
Eldred?
Eldred? Wizard?
He's kind of trailing behind and just
referred by you.
Says what?
Mamoulian, do you have anything else on him that I haven't related? Shit, you weren't paying attention.
Mamoulian Blackwolf, right?
It's like, do you have any other... Oh, what was that last part?
Mamoulian Blackwolf. That's what the town crier.
Shit, no, I didn't. No, the town... Damn it. Gotta pay... I don't pay attention to those people enough. What about him? Eldred, where's my...
That's
see Guy take out a piece of parchment. Mamoulian Blackwolf.
That was the name that
do you remember
was
what else
mentioned.
Town Crier said?
That was the name that was mentioned when Butt Trumpet's current master, the tower, changed.
Oh, that the one behind it, maybe, or
he was a person of interest. I think it was said. I forget totally what it was, but I do remember him being mentioned by the town crier.
Black Wolf.
Octavia says, so Mamoulian knew Alistair Avatar?
Yes, I guess so. Somehow.
Rivals.
They were rivals.
Somewhat.
Interesting.
Okay.
Well, Alistair was an incredibly powerful wizard, so...
That's where...
What was that?
Yeah, Butt Trumpet used to be... Butt Trumpet was like almost like a million, and then Alistair like kind of won and then saved her.
Octavia says, wait a minute.
Right?
Alistair won your friend?
There's some kind of weird bet thing. I don't know.
Ah.
I don't know. I don't know the whole story. I just
we've heard it like second and third hand through unclear. So basically, at some point, Butt Trumpet was for both its.
Okay, so Butt Trumpet has been affiliated with both of these wizards.
Correct. Yes.
Wow. Your little friend has...
But Alistair like saved them. It wasn't like a bad thing.
Well, that's good, and that's kind of fitting with what I know of Mr. Avatar. That's he was a very well respected wizard. And it's a shame that no one, well, that we just assume he's dead. Quite frankly, no one knows otherwise. But then again, no one's sure if what's happening with the tower, if that was Alistair's doing, because that's kind of really scaring a lot of people with the way it's changed.
Is that thing?
What was that?
Has it stopped growing? Has that thing just stopped growing, or is it still like growing and shaped daily?
It
I assume we
happens in
can
spurts.
see it. So
Yeah, it happens.
okay,
in
so
spurts.
it is. It's not a constant thing, but all right. It's like you walk outside and you're like, has it changed today? No? All right.
It's gotten a lot wider, a lot taller, and a lot stranger. Definitely since the way it was when Alistair lived there.
Yeah, at that point it was just a standard wizard tower, right?
Standard tower, yeah. And
I think it's weird.
So
I haven't seen this tower, so I don't know.
well, I'm sure your friends can either take you by it, well, within a few blocks of it. You can see it for blocks around, so or they can tell you a little bit about it. So you didn't used to be able to see it for blocks around, but you can now. So is there anything else I can help you with? I will assume that is a no. Okay, well then I do have work to do, so I will bid you adieu.
Thank you.
I don't know what help I've been, but I'll see what I can do. Okay.
Well, it's sooner or later we're going to help one another out with this stuff.
Well, the sooner you can get your little friends saved, the sooner we can work on getting these children back to their families.
Yes. So many things.
So
they just keep adding up.
Well, I will bid you adieu. Miss Vivaldo, was it?
Yes.
It was a pleasure meeting you. I'm glad you met up with these adventurers. I hope it proves helpful to both you and them.
I think it will. Thank you.
Okay. You may want to keep an eye on this one's alcohol consuming, but
Yeah.
other than that, it should be good.
That's all
He does
part
really
of the
good.
so too.
He's okay.
He's okay?
He does. It's really impressive, actually, how much he can actually drink. And, like, I haven't seen him too intoxicated, actually. It's quite... I think you had 5 today? Was it 5? No, it was more than 5.
Oh, there was how many people at the table times 2? Yeah, and
It
it was about 10-ish.
Ah.
And
must
he's
have
still
10.
talking.
Yes.
Well, from the a couple times I've met the gentleman, it seems like that never stops. So, but
He's taught me everything I know about drinking.
I can see that, and sir, I would imagine you probably, if you were to look back in your family tree, there's probably some some dwarven blood within you somewhere, because you certainly have dwarven constitution.
Oh, yes. I think that's also where the beard thing comes from.
I was
Thank
going
you.
to say it's a fine beard.
Yes.
You should be very
Cultivated
proud
3
of
years.
that beard.
Mm.
But enough talk about beers and brews and bourbons and all that. I really have to
Yes.
go. So I wish you
Thank
luck.
you.
Keep me apprised, and if I learn of anything, I'll send word. If I can.
Excellent.
Things have been
Yes.
kind of hectic and busy. So, like I said, if you want to check back in a day or two, feel free.
Thank you. We shall, definitely. Especially if your first party of guardsmen are overdue from that house. That's
Well,
definitely
we'll
not
see. I
good.
kind of expected them by now, but you know, things happen. And also, when you send a group of young guards into an area that they don't know, and they don't really have a lot of official supervision, sometimes things take far longer, we've learned. But unfortunately, I didn't have any officers to spare. So we'll just have to make do with when they get back, and we'll deal with that when the time presents itself.
I'm sure they'll be fine.
I do too. I mean, it's simply a house, and we've never had any problems with it before, so I'm sure it'll be fine. So with that, I bid you adieu. Have a wonderful
Thank
day,
you.
and I look forward to speaking with you again. And she gives you a smile, turns, and heads back to the colonnade.
I'm almost certain they're
I
probably
immediately
dead.
lean over to Gaius.
What?
Oh, sorry,
Was that
Viv.
Beholden?
Yes.
Oh, sorry. I said I immediately lean to Gaius and go, I feel like we should go look at that house that the gods were in. But I don't know. If you think it's fine, then it's fine.
Oh God. On foot from where we're now at, Paul. What do you think? That's to go in and out real quick would take.
Well, it's probably
In
a
and out.
little bit before dinner. And
Yeah,
know
it's,
from past experiences, it can go anywhere from 2 hours to 3 hours to get over there.
Yeah. Okay. So
Should we rest and then decide?
we could head back to the inn, double check, see if we've gotten any responses yet. And actually, there's one more thing we could reach out to. I can send a message to my friends in the local magic gang, see if they have any info as well. They really like me.
You have friends in a local magic gang.
Well, they stole from me one time. Somebody that we knew got briefly blown up by them. It's good now. We're all on
Oh, okay.
friendly footing.
Eldred says it was
you
some
all-
strange magical street gang, it seems.
The
They
one
stole
thing,
pants.
Reed, yeah,
Yes.
they did that. Did the people that gobnapped Butt Trumpet use magic at all?
Well, there was that big ice thing, but that might.
Oh,
have
you
been Butt
saw the
Trumpet.
whole thing.
Eldred says,
I chased after them.
they were all together. Everyone was together when it happened.
Oh,
Mhm.
wow.
Yeah.
Some of us were further away and maybe a little winded or couldn't climb over the giant ice wall or break through it like the Kool-Aid man.
Where did this happen?
Right
the
by
market.
The market, right? Yeah.
In the market.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Vivalda, you're smart enough to know that that you hear them say giant ice wall, and it's kind of mid to late spring at the moment.
Okay.
Just throwing that out there.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if Butt Trumpet did some magic stuff before, like the bunnies, and I don't know if they did the ice magic or I don't know who did the ice magic,
what?
but I climbed over it real quick and went after them.
We could talk to them and see if they if we'll see if it was them involved with the ice magic thing, or if it was Butt Trumpet that did it. We could at least ask and see if they have heard who might have scooped them up. I mean, technically, they work the library district where we're staying, so can't hurt to ask.
Well, that's convenient. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Let's try that.
Yeah, let's
I'll
find the
leave
head
us.
stealers.
Oh, please don't refer to them as that.
What?
Please don't.
I won't say that to them.
There's certain stories we shouldn't spread.
Okay, so what do you want to do?
Oh, we'll head back to the Stone's Throw, but on the way, Gaius will go upstairs, grab that old pair of pants, bring them back down, and go out and tries to remember that alley where there was the issue with them, and just kind of like put a note in the pocket of like, would like to talk, and then he just puts the pants like hanging up in that alley and then just leaves. And he's like, I don't know if this is going to work, but sure, why not?
Okay. You do have an idea. It was in the history district, which is right off of the library district.
Okay.
That, and you
It was
have
right
a rough
nearby, yeah.
idea of where the alley is. That your
Yeah.
initial issue with them happened.
Yeah, so guys will just go like pin up the pants with the
Okay.
note in the pocket and be like, well, if they get it, they get it. And if not, well, they were shitty pants anyway.
Okay. Okay, so we'll say you do that. We'll say that by the time you do that, it's well after dinner time and going into early evening by the time you get back to the Stone's Throw. And so you're there, and Butterbeer says, good to see you. Ready for drinks and dinner or anything like that?
Yes, let's do that.
Okay. So he basically takes your orders and sets things up. Anything else that you wanted to do this evening?
We still haven't gotten a response from the other contact we had sent a message
Sparkle
out
Bottom?
first thing in the morning. Yes, that one. She struck me as a night owl worker kind of type, so I wasn't sure if... So we've reached out about 1 million people. We talked with the guards about Butt Trumpet. We don't want to go into the sewers without Nikita present. Am I missing anything?
We could just
think
drink
there's
tonight.
anything
That
else.
would be fun.
Oh yeah, well, I mean that's standard fare.
Vivalda, give me
We
another
could see if
perception
that-
check, please.
Sure
I was
thing.
gonna say we could see if that guy who left earlier comes back.
Okay.
No. 8.
Okay. Okay, so Butterbeer had cleared your table from when you left, and he goes about bringing you all the special, which is it's a stew with multiple types of meats within it, and root vegetables and such, and a freshly baked loaf of bread, and whatever, you know, each of your drinks that you usually drink. And you're in the middle of eating it. And Gaius, give me a perception check, please.
Okie day. Let's see what I can pull off. I'm only so many sheets to the wind.
Okay.
23.
Okay.
Ooh.
You see a young man come in the door dressed a little nicer than the courier you saw before. He's kind of looking around.
I raise my hand.
Reed,
You're looking, and then I gesture and I point at Reed.
Reed, give me a perception check.
Ooh,
You
21.
look over there and you recognize the boy right away. It's Bartleby Nickleby's assistant, the young man who helps, who then sees you and comes over to the table and says,
Hey.
Master Nickleby has sent me over. Did he thought you might want to come up and speak to him?
Yeah, that's what we want, right?
Oh hell yeah!
You do that. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Sure.
Well,
Did you bring the carriage?
Yes, I did.
Ah, wait till you guys see this carriage. It's so cool.
Okay, he says, so follow me. As, just as your food arrives.
Oh shit! Hold on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have a bag to take them in?
Butterbeer sees what's going on and says, I'll keep it warm for you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
As Gaius starts downing drinks and takes a loaf of bread and is like, "That's for later."
I take a couple things off my plate just to snack on.
Okay.
And then we head to the carriage.
Okay, you head out.
Fix the fries.
You head out the door, and there
Fistful
is
of French fries.
a very nice carriage with these white horses, and oddly enough, no driver. And as you arrive, the door opens up, and the young man says, "Feel free."
I happy?
Okay.
Sure. I get it.
Looks to you, Gaius. Are you coming?
Oh yeah, no, I just I was just being polite and waiting for everybody to get in.
Okay. You get in, and then the
Kiki's gonna be
young
so
man
upset she
gets
missed
in,
it.
and the door shuts, and the carriage starts moving. And it's a good hour, at which point, at one point, you find you're going up a rather steep hill and going back and forth, you assume, going up towards the overlook. You pass through the gates. Carriage doesn't even have to slow down. The gates just open for it. And eventually you find yourself Reed at a familiar tower. And the door opens up, lets you out. The boy goes over, opens the door, says, follow me. And as you do, does everyone go in?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Vivaldo's just
No
like
hesitation.
wide-eyed this whole time.
Shit, I gotta give me one of these things.
Shuts the door behind you, and goes up a circular set of stairs that winds around the tower. You see periodic doors on strangely on both sides of the stairs as you go around the tower.
Freaking wizard towers.
And you go up a number of floors, and it opens up to a what appears to be a working library with bookshelves on most of the round walls. And it seems to go up a number of stories. There's a very ornate desk, and there is a stand with a raven sitting on it. And there is one window, a kind of arched window on one side that is open. And behind the desk, you see a young gnome dressed rather smartly, who looks at something from his pocket, sticks it away, and says, friends, Master Reed, good to see you again. And you use the front door.
Hi. Yes, I did.
You are a wise young man. That is good to see.
Why, thank you.
So
I love your carriage ride. It's so nice.
I understand that we have a problem with our mutual friend, where he finally got out of a bad situation, got into a good situation. There was a bad situation that took that good situation away from him, but then he found you, which seemed to be a good situation, and now we're in a bad situation again. And do I have that correct?
I have no idea what's going on. What
A lot of situations.
can you be slightly less obtuse? We took.
But
talking
Trumpet
about-
is gone, is what I'm saying.
Oh,
Is that true?
oh, yes.
Okay.
Holy shit!
And they
What did you
think
just
that
say? That
Mongolian guy did it,
Pardon me?
and that Mongolian guy might have did it.
Mammalian, you
Well,
say?
from what we found out, potentially that person is behind the bounty contract, which is why Butt Trumpet was kidnapped out in the market area. We talked with the intermediary, if you will, and Butt has not been placed in their care as of earlier today.
Okay, All I know is
hi,
that there was
I'm
a
Gaius, by the way. We've
And
actually
I'm
never met.
Vivalda.
And Vivalda, very nice to meet both of you.
She's new.
I am new. Yeah.
Well, you seem like, I'm sure you're wonderful people, and I'm sure we will have plenty of time to get to know each other over time. But right now, I am concerned that poor little Butt Trumpet has been through an awful lot over the past couple months, and if they're in trouble, I think that needs to be our focus. So, but while we discuss this, would you care for some refreshment of some sort while we talk?
I wouldn't mind a tipple
Okay.
Sure.
or two.
Okay. Would you care if I have wine? I have Seven Rivers finest. Well, maybe not the finest, but I have a very nice selection. And I can bring about some little sandwiches or something. Is that?
Ooh, yes.
Yeah, oh, yes. Did you say you actually have wine here?
Yes.
I certainly have that. It's been quite a while since I've had actual wine offered to me in this town. Don't get me
Oh,
wrong.
it's not a local wine. I purchase this by the case when I'm in Alkmaar.
Oh, thank Marcus. Okay.
So,
Because you guys
I
do
will
an
gladly
okay
sample some
job.
of that.
what was that?
I'll gladly sample some of that.
Very good. Okay. And he turns to the boy
after my own heart.
and looks at the boy, and the boy just nods and leaves the room. You hear the raven go, "And crackers!" And the boy stops and just nods and continues on their way.
It's a good input.
It's
You see the bird look at you, Vivalda, and just kind of go. And then starts to
bird
preen
just-
itself.
that bird
So,
acknowledged.
I think so.
Mr.
Okay.
Nickleby, you talk to Butt Trumpet, right? With magic, can you do that again?
Yes, I can. And you hear him say, "Butt Trumpet, my friend, it is I, Mr. Nickleby. I am with your friends. We are all very worried about you. Is there anything you can tell us to help us find you? And are you okay?" And he waits for a moment. And he seems to be listening. Okay. Very good, my friend. We will do what we can to get you out of there. Just hold tight and be safe. And then Mr. Nickleby turns to you and says, "Okay, but Trumpet seems very upset and frazzled. They're not sure where they are. though they've been moved once already due to, they said, an accident.
I wonder if it's more bunnies.
And but they are safe, it seems. So they haven't been harmed. They're just incredibly scared.
I wonder
Any
if they
clue
could
on their-
describe any faces they've seen.
Ah, I will ask. My friend, can you describe any of these people? Okay. There are a couple that it doesn't sound like we need to worry about because they just seem to be, well, it sounds like they're not going to be an issue. But they a lot of people in cloaks. There's one very large person. Lots of little people about the size of their friend Master Reed. You, sir. There's a number of people about your size, they said. Lots of cloaks. Hasn't seen many of their faces. Thought they might have been very similar to the people with Glorious.
Similar to the people that attacked Glorious or were with.
I don't know. They just said that the people that they saw with Glorious.
People that they saw with Glorious.
That must have been when
Are they
we
talking?
were getting Glorious
Are they
out
talking-
of that bar.
Oh, the
Who's
ones with the.
Glorious?
Oh, sorry. Yes. We made an acquaintance. I think we might be able to call him friend now. When we first got to town, he helped out, and then we attended a funeral for, I guess, a hero or a champion of this town at some point in the past. And we saw Glorious there, and he had the look of a person that wanted to seek revenge, I guess is the best way to put it. Fast forward another day or two, Butterbeer helped us find him, and he was basically drinking at a seedy establishment. We went to go and collect him, and in the process had to have an epic bar fight our way out of there. But in the process, Glorious was mortally wounded more than once.
Was this the friend that you
Luckily,
said got
I-
shot with the arrows?
Yes, exactly. That one. Mhm.
All right.
So we kind of had a running fight where we extracted him and then was able to basically rescue him. And now he's off safely recuperating, at least I hope so. And so if they're the same so those were all cloaked and shady assassin types. So if that's the around her.
Eldred says a number of them were halflings as well.
Oh,
Interesting.
Nickleby, can you ask them what they like, the area they're in, what they see or hear or smell? That could give us clues to where they're at. Like if it smells real salty and humid, they could be near the water.
Coast.
Or if yes, they hear birds or maybe bells, they might be near a church or something. That could help us narrow down their location.
I will do
They
that.
could be in that stinky cloud from the crater.
Or if yes, that would at least narrow down to half of the city ish.
Yeah.
Paul, just a quick question for my own head here. The Eastern District, that one that is mostly covered in the bad side of town, does that equate to about half of the territory of Seven Rivers, or is that more like
Roughly.
roughly? Okay. Just trying to get like it in my mental headspace.
The Western Districts is a little bigger, but it's a good deal bigger actually. but the eastern districts it's a fair size. I mean, as you know, it takes 2 to 3 hours to cross to
Oh
Goblin
yeah.
Town. So
Well, I wasn't sure if that was because it was more meandering instead of having straight, well laid paths like the better side of town is,
right.
or if it was in fact due to distance kind of thing.
It's a little bit of both, but
Mhm.
it's a fair distance to cross that entire part of the city.
No,
Um,
I got you.
plus the terrain there's a lot of difficult terrain because there's all
Hmm.
sorts of issues there that you don't come across in the western districts. Um,
Exactly. That's what I was kind of, I guess, for my own, like, me giving God's eye view of the place,
right.
just get
Well,
a little bit more clarity
you've
from
skirted a
personal.
lot of that, so
Hmm.
to be able to avoid the terrain being a major issue. But
Hmm.
Mr. Nickleby says, "My little friend, can you describe where you are?" Listens for a little bit and says, "Mm-hmm. Oh, oh my. Okay, okay. Thank you, my friend. Be safe." And Mr. Nickleby turns to you and says, uh, "They were in a room in a building um, that just smelled kind of musty, but now just smells like ash and charcoal. Um, but then they moved them to a cold room, a room that's cold and damp."
Cold and damp.
Like a
Okay.
cellar? Could be a cellar.
Could be a cellar.
Are there any
Could be a
fires in
cellar.
town recently?
Hmm?
Maybe a fire in
Fi-
town recently, or if not, maybe perhaps an oven or some sort of furnace room?
or forge, perhaps.
Perhaps.
Hmm. So they were taken in the market district. They could have been taken to, I guess, a smithy of some form or another. Obviously, one that wasn't active at the time because there was no heat. If it just smelled of ash. Hmm. Yes. I guess.
You said
Uh, go ahead,
you
Viv.
said that it smelled musty, then it smelled of ash and charcoal, or was it all at once? Sorry.
They said, "And then."
And then that's what I heard. What, guys, I'm afraid to suggest this, but what about those guards in that building that they talked about? Like that they haven't checked in? There could have been a
Uh,
fight.
well, that the thing is with that building. Actually,
Is
you know what?
something else.
Well, that house is in a distinct cloud that has a very peculiar aroma that would stand out.
I see.
Nickleby, did they
Mr.
notice
Nickleby,
this,
my good
Mister?
man.
Sorry, Mister Nickleby. Forgive me.
It's okay.
Is did did they notice the scent of entering the Eastern District at any point?
Well, I'm familiar with the eastern districts and familiar with the environmental oddities that happened there.
Hmm.
I really think even if Butt Trumpet had never been there, they would have been they would have described that.
Okay.
So
Probably.
I really think we're safe in assuming that they're either in the Overlook or the Western districts.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Okay.
It was
Eastern District. The first one, well, Mr. Nickleby, there wasn't any fires or anything, like Viv was asking. earlier in this side of town that we weren't aware of. Was there?
Well, over the past week or so, there have been a number of explosions in the city. Alistair's
At
Tower being
particular
one of them.
places?
There were a couple here in the Overlook and quite a few scattered throughout the Western Districts, as a matter of fact. As I mentioned,
Okay.
Alistair's Tower had an explosion. There was one in a back alley in the Library District. There were...
Were there any in near the Market District, Mr. Nickleby, that you could remember?
The young man comes in with some finger sandwiches and a big carafe of wine and sets out glasses in front of everybody.
Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. It's the least I can do. There. Have you heard of any explosions in the past day or so? And the boy says, "No, the town crier didn't mention anything, and I haven't heard from anybody that there have been any explosions in the past day or so. It's been a couple days since we've had an explosion, because there were a lot of them happening over a period of like 4 days. There was at least one every day, and now we've had a couple days where nothing."
Interesting.
Do you think it would be possible to draw a map for each day of which explosions occurred where?
Oh, I wouldn't know about that, my dear. You would probably have to talk to
Alright.
the
Town
to
crier?
someone in authority for that.
All right.
Well, we know that's the first location Butt Trumpet was at. They knew one now, which
Well, but
did
one of the key fact here, though, is that if the young man speaks true, and he has no reason not to, if there have not been any explosions in the past 2 days, and I think he said there haven't been any for the past 3 or 4, then that's not an issue as far as where Butt Trumpet is, I would imagine.
How long has Butt Trumpet been missing?
Mr. Nickleby looks to you, Gaius, and Reed.
yesterday.
Yes, yesterday, right? Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Just yesterday.
So it's been
Middle of the day.
All right.
Was that? Was that
Late-
middle of the
later.
day yesterday?
Kind of like late afternoon.
Yes. Late after, before dinner.
Oh,
time, but
actually
after
early
lunch.
afternoon, because then you went in search and did all of that. So it was early
Yes.
afternoon, and then you made it back.
There you go. A little bit after lunchtime, give or take, of yesterday. So I guess they've moved them once already. So they stashed them somewhere. Oh, Mr. Nickleby, did they happen to say, were they alert or conscious? Did they notice how long it took them to be moved from one location to another? Were they moved via like carriage, or were they carried? Is there anything to give a clue of distance traveled?
My friend, do you have any idea how long it took you to be moved, where they moved you? Did they take you by a carriage or anything like that? My friend? Butt Trumpet dear. No worries, my friend. You keep quiet. We will work to do what we can. You don't have to say anything else. I hear what you're saying. Look out for your own safety. Yes, we will do what we can. That is unfortunate. There was no response for a little while, and then they sent the message, but they were obviously speaking to somebody else. Somebody was asking who they were speaking to and what they were doing. It sounds like, because they were saying, "I'm just talking to myself. I wasn't speaking to anybody." So
see.
no, just get away. And that's when I didn't hear anything else.
Okay. Well, damn it. Would have been too easy. Okay.
All right.
But I was actually going to be leaving on an errand this evening, but I can delay it a little bit.
I appreciate any help you can give, because they're a sweet person. They don't deserve what's happening to them right now. We need
Yes,
to.
no, they
figure
are
out
a
where they are.
priority. Their safety is definitely a priority. Okay.
Oh,
Please enjoy your wine and the sandwiches. Do you have another question or anything for me? Because I think I want to go and research some stuff.
can you give us any more information about this Mamulian individual?
Mamulian.
Like maybe, yes, any backstory, if you will, any
Connection.
scope of what we're dealing with. Does he have connections in town? Is that something
He
that
definitely has
yeah.
connections in town. I mean, he used his main connection used to be Alistair. Alistair used to he and Alistair used to get together quite a bit.
Really?
Yes. I always kind of warned Alistair against it because and Alistair knew what he was dealing with him. I don't think he ever guessed that what actually happened to him would happen. But he was well aware of Mamulian Blackwolf and his nature, we'll say. That is a
Could
very
you
Mamulian Blackwolf is a dark, dark individual.
dark? In what way? Because it seems like us trying to rescue Butt Trumpet might put us in his put on notice to him a bit. So kind of curious to see what we're going to be getting ourselves into potentially.
Well,
While we're talking, I feed a cracker to the raven.
and kind of nibbles on it and says, and then you turn around to take another one and you hear, "Thank you, my dear brat."
All right, that definitely is a talking bird. Wait, is
You
it a
see
bird?
the bird look at you, Gaius, and go, "No shit." And Mr. Nickleby says, Now. Let's not have any of that
Familiar, or is that a familiar, or is that an actual raven that you just taught to talk?
It's a talking raven.
Okay.
Anyway, but
So I continue.
the topic here is our good friend Butt Trumpet.
Yes.
And Mamulian Blackwolf. And I hope with what I tell you, it will not change your view towards helping our friend. To put it in simple terms, Mamulian Blackwolf is a very powerful dark wizard. And when I say dark, very often people refer to that as evil. And I have to admit, if I would say that word probably fits.
I mean,
He is
isn't
also
he suspect
incredibly old.
for? Isn't it he's suspect? And I kind of like gesture off into the random, like somewhere in the Western District where there's obviously a very evil looking tower now. Isn't he suspect for that over there?
His name has been mentioned in investigations from what I hear from the circles I travel in. But he also has a certain level of social armor, we'll say, as far as politics and and authorities go. I'm not exactly sure why, but he seems to have quite a few connections. And he seems to be, he's not pursued actively from what I'm hearing. But then again, from what I hear also about that, there's not really any evidence against him, which could be the reason for it. It's guilt by association from is what's being said.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, he's nasty business.
So when you say dark wizard, what magic is he that has given him this kind of? Is it the magic he's doing, or is it him using the magic in, I guess, a more nefarious way?
The simple answer is yes. To expound upon that, he takes a sip of his wine. Let me put it to you quite simply. Butt Trumpet was basically a slave in his employ, as are most of the goblins and goblets in his employ. He does not treat them well. He's just a nasty bit of business. He hasn't done too many things to draw attention to himself for, I'd say, ages. But there was a time when he was involved with some heinous things. Yeah, he earned his reputation, we'll say that.
What is your relation to Mamulian?
Oh, I have no relationship with him. I've met him once or twice. Don't like the man. No, I don't. But when the magical society, the society of wizards, as it were, and people who use magic, is a small one in the area, and you get to know of or about different ones, especially ones with a history. And especially ones with a history that go back as far as Mammalian Black Wolf and Alistair Avatars do. Which, that's a long history.
Can I insight check him?
Absolutely.
I really got to remember to start doing that.
Okay.
18.
Gaius and Reed, if you would take your headphones off, please. Okay, Vivalda. That's a good roll. What you get is that this gnome is speaking the truth. He's speaking from the heart, but he's also wary because he does not know you. And he doesn't, you get the feeling that he doesn't feel like he knows any of you. But
Okay.
a lot of this, because that's such a good role, you get the feeling that maybe he's being as kind as he is to you because A, he might just be a kind individual, but more likely, or in addition to that, he's concerned for Butt Trumpet, who he seems to know and have a history with.
Okay.
Okay? So he says, is there anything else I can help you with? Because I really need to look into a few things now with this.
Of course.
I don't think
Reed
we
has
got
like
any
sandwiches stuffed in his mouth.
Thank you for your hospitality.
The pleasure was mine. I can take you back to your inn now that I know where it is.
Yes, and thank you for the excellent wine. It's been a while since I've tasted good
Yes.
wine in this town.
Well, you get our little friend back safe and sound, and we'll have a nice tasting some night up here for you. Okay?
Oh,
And that's a promise.
Bacchus be
Sounds
praised.
excellent.
Okay,
Thank you.
yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Oh, which, by the way, don't give Butt Trumpet normal-sized people glasses.
Excuse me?
She tasted wine for the first time and then consumed, I believe, their body weight in wine, and
You
it
see a
was
little
not pretty.
smile go on their face and on Mr. Nickleby's face and says, "Noted."
Yes, just FYI. I actually tried to restrain them, but they just kept on drinking.
Okay.
I was actually kind of proud of them.
Well, I'm very proud of them too, but not for the same reasons. So,
Yes, I would assume so. Different priorities.
okay. My this young man will see you to the door and see you out. I want to get right on some of this stuff if you'll be so kind. And
Thank you.
my pleasure, little lady, my young lady. We will do everything we can. And if anything changes or you hear of anything vital, you send word up to me, okay?
Will do.
Okay.
Okay. And the boy leads you down out to the carriage.
I want to pet the raven really quickly before.
Okay.
Just take a finger and lightly
Okay,
stroke
you see
his
that the feathers kind of fluff up around the head. The eyes kind of squint, and you hear them kind of like a trill of their tongue, and just kind of, and when you stop, they shake and they fluff up, and then the feathers slowly go down. And do you do anything else after that?
I just nod to it like it did earlier to me, and then I would exit.
Okay. As you turn to walk away, you hear, "I like her. She can come back."
I just smile as I walk out.
And Mr. Nickleby says, "I'm sure she will. And hopefully with our little friend." And as you're at the door, you hear, "I hope so too. I always liked Butt Trumpet."
I do that bird freaking talked.
I've
And
never seen a talking bird before.
It might be a familiar, despite what he said.
Eldred says, "Well, it's definitely familiar with you now."
Oh gosh, if only I had a drum set. But I'll just go, ba-dum-tsh.
Okay.
Thank you, Eldred, for the sterling entertainment.
I'm here till Thursday. Try
Anywho,
the
down
mutton.
the stairs we go.
Okay. So you get into the carriage. The door shuts behind you. It takes a few moments, but then the carriage goes about its business and takes you back to the Stone's Throw. Lets you out, and it's rather late at this point. And you head back into the Stone's Throw, and as you do so, the carriage slowly starts going back.
As we go in, I say, as we go in, I say, I wonder if Nikita's back yet.
And go on.
Knowing her, she's probably passed out upstairs already. Now let's go get some of that reheated stew.
Okay, you do that, and Butterbeer brings you out some fresh dinner and some drinks. Lets you know that Nikita did indeed come back, had some dinner, and went to bed. Because saying they want to get up early tomorrow and go back. So you have dinner, you have your drinks. Vivalda, if you
Reed
want...
goes and checks on his bunny.
Okay.
I go and check on the bunny.
Bunny's there.
Has
safe
it gotten
and sound.
bigger?
It hasn't gotten bigger. It's kind of staying that same size. It's still bigger than when he found it, though.
So no
give it some more
giant
food.
rabbit mounts. Gotcha.
Okay,
No.
so... Anything else you want to do this evening?
I would probably just ask where my room is. That I assume I'm taking Butt Trumpet's room now.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Butterbeer says, no, follow me. And he takes you up to a room and opens it up, and it's been cleaned, and you can smell it. It smells clean, like it's been scrubbed, and the sheets have been changed, and it's small, but it's nice. You know, it's nothing fancy, but it's cleaner. It's definitely cleaner than some of the small inns you stayed in along the road.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Okay.
anything else you wanted to do this evening before you go to bed?
Nope.
Okay. Gaius, sir, roll me a 20-sider, please.
All right. Let's use one of my zeros to roll. Make it easy. 17.
Ah, okay. Okay, so everyone goes to bed?
Sure.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how long this will take, so I won't have you take your headphones off, Rita and Vivalda. Just be aware you're asleep. Okay?
Okay.
Okay.
And yes,
Or
Reed,
meditating, whatever elves
Reed,
do.
you stay asleep.
Whatever elves do.
Whatever else do.
Whatever elves do, I don't.
Whatever that thing is. Trance or
It's the
whatever.
B-side track to my record. Whatever elves do.
Gaius, you go to sleep. You're out pretty cold. You feel like you've hit deep sleep, and then all of a sudden you're awoken.
Yep. Put on some pants, and boots and whatnot, and open the door. Yeah?
You see Butterbeer standing there, just it kind of looks like he's staring past you.
Hi, Butterbeer. Is this you?
He turns around and starts walking towards the stairs, slowly.
I really don't like when people mind control my bartender. I follow.
Starts heading down the stairs to the main floor of the inn.
Mm-hmm. I follow.
Okay. You go down there, and there is a single candle on a table, kind of in the center of the room, but more towards, like you can see as you come down the stairs, it's just to the right past the bar. A single candle. The rest of the room is very dark.
Gotcha.
Butterbeer goes behind the bar, standing in pretty much darkness because it was only a candle. But you can see him kind of, without looking, pick up a glass and what looks like a rag and just seem to be cleaning, looking off into the distance. And then you hear, "Seems you were right, Mr. Y. A familiar face." And then you hear, "Yes, Mr. E. I do believe it is. Troublesome though it be."
Well, I was not expecting this. I was going to have to talk to some rapscallion magic gangers about mind controlling my bartender, but this is in fact more terrifying than I thought.
And at this point,
hello?
two figures walk into the edge of the light. One is rather round with a kind of poorly fitting derby hat that's a little crumpled on their forehead. A tweed suit that doesn't seem to fit properly, seems to be a little too tight. Black hair and a patchy beard that is kind of close to the face and kind of sleepy looking eyes. Next to them is a very tall figure that is incredibly thin, dressed almost in fine evening wear with pointed shoes that look polished to a high gloss, um, a vest underneath their coat, little spectacles on a very sharp pointed nose, a beard that comes to a very nice point that then curls, and hair that swoops back almost like they're standing in a high wind, or almost like a bird diving for some prey. And the hair is kind of a reddish brown. And they say, "You're in good spirits."
Well, I consume a lot of good spirits, so it makes sense. Mr. E, Mr. Y, and Gaius kind of does like a half bow, but not taking his eyes off of them, and comes back up. As always, it is a mixed bag when meeting you. I hope this is a pleasure, but I have a bad feeling I'm about to get news I don't like.
You smile like a cat that's eaten the canary, says Mr. Y. And Mr. E says, "I like cats. They're delicious."
Ugh. I'll have to take your word on that one.
Mr. Y says, "Mr. Argos, please tell me, why is it whenever we are looking into something, you seem to have been there before us?"
Well, the only thing I could potentially put to that is maybe the gods put me there.
You see
I do
a smile
serve
on
one.
Mr. Y's face, and you notice his teeth are almost they're teeth, but they come to needle-like points. And it's a kind of an offsetting smile. And he says, "You have no idea of the way of gods, Mr. Argos."
I don't claim it. I just said maybe that's why. Hell, it could be fate, bad luck, good luck.
It is definitely luck where it comes to you, it seems, but not good luck. So, Mr. Argos, where is the key?
Oh, well, you're going to have to be slightly more specific than that. What key do you require?
The key that you had your little hands on in the house. Come, you know of what we speak.
Oh, there was little keys to open boxes. Can you
The
describe said
strange
key?
looking key.
Yeah. Well, you seem to have caught me without most of my paraphernalia. So,
So, is the key in your room?
what does the key do, if I might ask? And why do you automatically assume I have it?
Because the desk it was in smells of sour wine.
Well, I mean, that could be anybody. I have actually been drinking a preponderance of whiskey and beer recently, so I don't think my bouquet would have been of sour wine at that point. So I don't know if it's the right person you're looking for. I mean, you can give me... Well, actually, now you can't give me a whiff because this is the first night in many nights I've had wine. Anywho, yeah, you're looking for a key. A key to what, exactly? Oh, let me guess. A door. Okay. What does the door open? What's it for?
Mr. Y says,
I've worked with you before.
I know you have. I recognize that sour wine smell, which is what brought us to you from before. Now, be careful, Mr. Argos. Curiosity killed the cat. And you hear his little friend. And as you've gotten closer, you realize this quote-unquote little friend is maybe just a tad taller than you. He's not as little as you thought. He was quite wide, and you thought quite stout. But as they've come closer, you've realized that he's about as large and tall as you are, which puts the Mr. Y significantly taller than you, and significantly thinner as well. As he's talking, his fingers are very long and with very manicured nails, and says, yes, curiosity killed the cat, Mr. Argos. Be careful what you ask about.
Aha, but if you forget the rest of that quote you just made to me, satisfaction brought it back.
Yes, and that's what we want, Mr. Argos. Satisfaction.
Yeah, no, it's what I'm looking for too. Listen, we, I guess, kind of got along the last time we interacted. I'm not necessarily looking to not have the same kind of amicable trading of things. I have a thing apparently you want. I'm just looking for a little clarity, because apparently I keep mucking about in the same
Houses.
stuff that you do. Yes. If I happen to know more about what is going on, I might be able to maybe avoid these houses, or at the very least, we don't have to have this back and forth as much. I could see you asked for the thing, I gave it to you. I'm not necessarily disinclined to do this. I'm just looking for a little clarity. A little backstory, some exposition, if you will.
Well, then let me clarify. You were in the house. You took a key. We want that key.
Okay.
The key is gold. It is long. The teeth are not normal. They come off in 3 different directions with little symbols on the end.
Mm-hmm.
You remember the key, Mr. Argos?
Oh, it's a very distinctive looking key that you've just described. Like I said, I'm just asking for a little bit of clarity. I'm willing to work with you. I mean, we did well enough the last time.
Mr. E says, it seems like he needs to understand what we mean by clarity, Mr. Y. Mr. Y says, I'm beginning to think that as well, Mr. E. This is getting tiresome.
I would agree.
I'm glad we're in agreement. So you are familiar with the key of which I speak.
I mean, you described a very distinctive key. You described a very distinctive looking key. Now, out of character, this is Gaius buying time. He's like, did we find a fucking key like this?
In the house,
we did.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to remember. It was like, I think that's upstairs. Is it in my bag or is it in the desk?
You found a box. It had two placements in it. One was missing. The other one was there. And Kellen took it.
Oh, Kellen took the key.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. All right. So that's what I thought. That's why I was buying time. Whoop. And we're back into character now. There's just a quick, well, not quick, a issue, Mr. E, Mr. Y. I was present when the key you're describing was found. And then Gaius pulls out like the two little keys that we use to unlock the boxes.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, here's proof. I was there. A member of our party that was there in the house that had possession of said key has gone missing while inside the place. And we have heard neither hide nor hair of him since he left.
You see Mr. Y
And-
lean forward and looks at you. What do you think, Mr. E? Is he being truthful? And the stout, round individual leans forward and goes, Step kind of leans back and says, unfortunately so, it seems.
I'm as blunt as the hammer I carry into combat, gentlemen.
Mr. Y just smiles and says, it's as if you took the words out of my mouth, Mr. Argos. Blunt
I am
is
at least
what
self-aware.
I would definitely say when it comes to you. So, you are familiar with the key. This is good. But unfortunately, one of your associates has the key.
Yes.
And Mr. E says, and they are still in the house?
I don't know about that. The last time we saw them, he was in the house. And now that I see that you two are involved, I'm sure you're probably much more aware of the powers of that house than I am. But I got the impression that it is a crossroads, if you will.
You could say something like that. How long ago did you find the key?
Correct me if I'm wrong, Paul, but 2 days?
About that.
2 days ago? Yeah. It's approximately 2 days ago. It was, I've been back from the house for 2 days. Time there was a little fickle, but when he went missing from the party, will halfway through our time there.
Do you have anything that belongs to this associate of yours that we could take with us?
Ooh, Gaius pats himself down and then looks over at the obviously mind-controlled butterbeer. Well, he probably left some objects in his room that, and then gestures toward butterbeer, that he has secured in case of his return. Sure, there's probably something. I don't know how intimate an object you need, and I don't know. He was definitely a close to the vest type, if you will. So I don't know if he left anything of
Mr.
particular...
Y says, good innkeeper, when you are done polishing that glass, please bring me something from the room that belonged to their associate who is no longer with them. And you see Butterbeer still looking for it, set the glass down, come out from behind the bar, and go into the kitchen.
He's going to be all right, right?
He will be fine. And
I'm just making sure
the
that...
short, stout one says, if he wasn't, he'd already be dead.
Oh. Ominous? All right. I mean, I like the guy. He's good people. Just didn't want you murdering the person that I like. Okay. So is there anything else, Mr. E, Mr. Y, I could potentially help you with?
You hear Butterbeer come out, and on the table he sticks what looks like a shirt. And you recognize it as one of the ones Kellen wore. And Mr. E picks it up and starts sniffing it.
Yep, that's one of his.
Looks up and Mr. Y says, "Do we have what we need, Mr. E?" And he looks up at Mr. Y and says, "I think we do, Mr. Y." And Mr. Y looks down at you and says, "Mr. Argos, I would say it was a pleasure if it was. So
Same.
I appreciate you being forthcoming. I also would advise against telling officials about the house. Probably not a wise idea for them. And therefore not a wise idea for you. We have what we need. We will go now."
Did the guard patrol all die, Mr. E, Mr. Y?
I am not sure. I will have to check.
Uh,
And Mr. E says, "We will check. If they're alive, we will take care of it.
Oh, wait. What do you mean by that?
We'll do what we have to do."
Nope. You're still being vague and obtuse. Does that mean you're going to make sure they get home safely to their families? Or does that mean you're going to dispose of the corpses properly?
Mr. Y says, "That depends solely on them and the constitution, as it were.
Oh,
But
what does that even mean?
blunt, I believe he said." And Mr. E says, "Yes, that he did."
Uh-huh. Please. Listen, I notice nuance. I just don't use it.
You astound me, Mr. Argos. You truly do. Your range of wit and intellect boggles the mind.
Yes.
Now, if you'll excuse me."
Oh, they're all dead. Fuck.
And Mr. E says, "Yes, if you'll excuse us. For right now, us leaving and what we have to do." And they turn around and start walking out the door.
Could you please not kill the guardsman?
They don't seem to acknowledge what you're saying, and they walk out the door, and the door shuts behind them.
Cool chat.
You see
Thanks for listening.
Butterbeer still standing there, polishing a glass now behind the bar, the same one he was polishing before.
Okay. I kind of snap my fingers in front of his face. Does anything happen?
No.
Can I take him and guide him to his room?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so Gaius takes him, guides him, like, lays him down in bed, takes, like, the cloth and the mug out of his hand, and just, like...
Still doing this while he's asleep.
Yeah, no, it's just, like, looking down at him, like, oh, can I do something about this? Shit. And he kind of reaches down, and it just casts with a touch and casts lesser restoration on him, which removes a disease or a condition. He's like, I don't know if this is going to do anything, but
Okay, you see
Bacchus,
him kind
please
of
help this man.
You see him laying there staring up at the ceiling, and while you've laid him down, his hand is to one side. The one that was polishing still continues to do this. And then slowly, the eyes still open, the hand still doing this. You start to hear snoring. And then the hand that's doing this slows down and eventually just relaxes. But the eyes remain open, and he snores.
At which point, Gaius just kind of like puts his fingers on his eyelids and just kind of like closes them, and then also casts the command on him. It's like, sleep.
He continues
And it just kind of
to
like
snore.
closes the door. And it's just like, I'm hoping that helps. At which
Okay.
point he goes, definitely blows out the candle, because you don't want to burn the place down with everybody in it. Irresponsible.
And
And then
then
casts light and walks up to his room. And then just sits on the bed, just staring into his head, like, for the rest of the night.
okay. And that is where we will call it an evening. Thank you, everyone, for joining us this evening. It's good to see you. We hope you've had a wonderful weekend like we did. What will happen as far as Butt Trumpet goes? Will Mr. Nickleby be able to find anything? What of these two strangers in the middle of the night? And why is Gaius so perturbed by it? Tune in next week. Same Grognard time, same Grognard channel. And whatever you do, wherever you go, whoever you meet, please remember, be kind.